In the days since Hamas militants stormed into Israel early October 7th, a flood of videos and photos supposedly showing the conflict have filled social media, making it difficult for onlookers from around the world to sort fact from fiction. While plenty of real imagery and accounts of the ensuing carnage have emerged, they have been mixed, with users pushing false claims and misrepresenting videos from other events. Today's guest will shed light on the challenges of navigating the sea of misinformation and disinformation during the ongoing Israel Hamas war, offering valuable insights into this pressing issue. Joining us now to provide insight on this matter is Marcus Kolga, founder and director of Disinfowatch, an organization dedicated to combating false information. Thank you for joining us today on Forum Daily, Marcus.
Thanks for having me on, Julie.
Can you explain to us the difference between misinformation and disinformation?
That's a great question. It all comes down to intent. So misinformation is basically, mistakes, errors that might be made in reporting. There's no intent to necessarily mislead. So, misinformation might also be termed as being just a mistake. Disinformation, on the other hand, is information that has been created with the intent to mislead us, to distort facts and mislead us on our understanding and confuse us on our understanding about certain issues. And when it comes to foreign regimes, terrorist groups like Hamas, an authoritarian regime like Russia, most of the information that they put out, I would say 99% of it, would be termed as information manipulation. So we forget about these, disinformation, misinformation, really focus on the fact that most of the information they're putting out there is intended to mislead us.
Now, during wartime, we often see a significant increase in both misinformation and disinformation. Why are conflicts a trigger in that way?
Well, look, I mean, governments, armies have been using mis and disinformation, have been trying to manipulate information for eons, ever since the dawn of time. And certainly we saw the Russian government engage in this. It's been engaging in this sort of activity since 2014. And in the lead up to its 2022, this latest phase of this war, it really engaged in it to try and prepare their own population for this war, to sort of, prime the pump for further disinformation, and also to mislead us, to try and make us believe that Russia wasn't going to invade Ukraine, to sort of stall the support that we might have given Ukraine, and quite frankly, it works. So we've seen this before, and we see it time and time again whenever there's a conflict.
Now, for the Israel-Hamas war, what are some of the clearest examples of disinformation, and who or what is a source of that disinformation?
Well, where do we even begin with this? I quite frankly haven't seen this level of misinformation and disinformation. I don't think I've ever seen this much of it. And some of the disinformation, some of the posts that we're seeing are quite incredible. As you mentioned in your opening, there's a lot of misrepresented images, images that have been taken from other conflicts to try and make it seem as if they belong or have been shot during the past 2 to 3 weeks in Israel. There was even an instance of a video game, an image of a Hamas, an individual with Hamas shooting down Israeli helicopters that was viewed millions of times on Twitter. And then there was this case that we discovered just last week of some Israeli soldiers. They a couple of years ago, this group was stationed in Cyprus, and a photo was taken of them with the Israeli flag and their regimental flag. Someone had removed that regimental flag and replaced it with a Nazi flag. So you had this image of Israeli soldiers standing with the Israeli flag and a Nazi flag, and this was also viewed 6 million times. So there's quite a bit of this false information moving about, and users, especially on social media, need to be aware of it.
So, what are the best tools for Canadians to better understand the validity of a source, or if they are consuming what would be considered misinformation or disinformation? We have about 50 seconds left.
50 seconds. Well, again, I could talk about this for a couple of hours. Look, there's no silver bullet, unfortunately. The first thing that Canadians should be doing is when they see these sorts of images, they should check the source, see where it's coming from, whether it's on social media or on some other platform. If you don't recognize it, I would dive a little bit deeper before sharing it or liking it. If they see a post that elicits an emotional response, anger, fear, anything like that, that could also be a telltale sign that somebody's trying to deceive them. So those are really the top two ways that we can try to protect ourselves from being manipulated by these sorts of sources.
I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me on.
We'll be right back.